Hi guys, this is part 2 of my ankle fusion surgery video. Now part 1 was life in the plaster cast, and if you haven't seen that you need to catch up on it because it's quite informative. It talks about safety, it talks about equipment, it talks about basically preparing for 2 months in a plaster cast, and it also talks about moving around. Now this one, part 2, covers more of like life after the plaster cast comes off, setting goals, and at the end of it, just a summary of things that you need to be aware of. Now going through this process, it is quite a while. It was 2 months in a cast, and then I've got a 2-month recovery period in a moon boot, and we're going to look at that now. It is really tiring, and if you look at it and think, God, that guy looks really tired, or gosh, he needs surgery or whatever, yeah, I do, and it does take it out of you. And it's been particularly hard for me because my partner had to go to the Philippines for a birthday, something that he had to do, couldn't get out of it, and he left not long after my cast came off. So for the last pretty much 3 weeks he's been away in the Philippines, and I've been battling on my own. So believe me, life in a plaster cast is bad enough. I have had a little bit of help from friends that have dropped in and stayed for a few days, but if you are on your own, it's going to be, you know, fairly difficult. So anyhow, let's just roll into the video, and we'll just go from there. Stand by. Hi guys, I'm back from hospital, so I'm going to talk you through that, but I'm also going to flip you around. You've been looking at our ovens, okay, for a while. I'm going to flip you around so that you've got a different view. Stand by. Okay, so we're sort of at the halfway point here. I know I'm looking a bit casual today, but look, I'll just turn this around and have a look at our weather. It's 27, 28 degrees in Auckland. Look at this, isn't that amazing? So I just want to bring you up to speed because we're now at 60 days into the whole thing. Went along to the hospital. I'm going to talk you through that in a minute and just tell you what happened. But I thought of 3 things I need to remind you. First of all, seating. And when you sit on a normal or low seat with crutches, you're going to find it a real effort to get out of that seat. Okay? So I tend to spend most of my time sitting in the kitchen on these bar stools, which are great because they're so easy to get out of. Good thing is they're higher than a normal chair, and also you've got the bench around you to help support you when you get up and down. So that's the first thing. Second thing I wanted to remind you was, if you are going to use a scooter like I do, the little mobility scooter to get around, which is awesome, and if you can get hold of one and if it works for you, best thing that you could ever do. Make sure you wear shoes even if you're inside, because the number of times I've run over my foot, you're just maneuvering around and your foot gets in the way. I think the wheels are slightly wider than they should be, and maybe they've changed them, I don't know. And then the third thing I wanted to say to you was we talked about the gloves that you should grab and put on, because they're going to make life a lot easier when you're using your crutches, and they slip on really easily and they just head around with Velcro. But see this? They actually leave your fingers free, and the good thing about that is if you want to pick something up easily, or you want to answer your phone, or something where you've got to use your fingers, it's way easier. So you could get away with a glove. That would help. That's better than nothing. But the advantage of these, this brand is Reebok, but there are lots of different brands. And you just get them from one of your sports stores, or borrow them from someone, you know, if you can. So that's 3 things that I just thought of in the interim before I went to hospital. Now, I'm going to talk to you about life after the plaster cast, and it's not quite as I thought it would be, because I said to you, I'm going off to have my cast taken off, and I'm going to be crutchless, and I'm going to be castless. Not true, because you still have to have crutches. I mean, I didn't think about this. So this is where we're learning something as we go through this process. I ended up in a moon boot. So I'm just going to tell you what happened. First of all, I rocked along to hospital. I went in, I had an appointment there. The appointment said you'll be there for about 2 hours. I was actually there for about 4, and that happens at hospitals, so you need to ideally take someone with you because you might need a bit of help getting around. I took someone with me. I went, and first appointment was to have my cast cut off, so they just get a type of saw and they cut right round it so that the 2 parts come off, and they didn't take it off, they left it together. And then the next thing I did after that was I had to go and have an x-ray. So that was relatively easy as well. On my crutches, hopping in there, lay down on the bed, they took the cast off and x-rayed it, and then they put the cast back on and tied it on. So it was actually loose, but they put it together and tied it with a bit of string just to protect everything while I was transferring between the various points. Then I went and saw my surgeon after that. So that was the 3rd person I saw at the hospital. My surgeon looked at the x-rays to make sure everything was okay, talked me through a few things there, not really very much, showed me pictures of the x-ray, which I'm going to show you. Interesting thing was, I thought I'd had 4 screws in my ankle to fuse it together. I actually had 5. So the x-rays are amazing. They show you exactly what's happened, and I've got 3 versions of the x-ray. Then after that, I hobbled down the corridor to the place where I was put in a moon boot. And there are lots of different types of moon boots. I'm going to show you the moon boot and how it works. They're pretty straightforward. Some of them have air pumps in them that pump them up. But I came away from the hospital about 4 hours later, and here I am. I'm still on my crutches. It's about 5 days into being having my cast taken off. So, and 65 days later. So I'm just making you aware of how long this process is. You need to be prepared for it. I've said that a few times. You need to be prepared for this and think a lot of things through before we get there. Now, coming home, when I got home, the first thing I did was I took my moon boot off because I wanted to get used to the process of putting it on and off. It is quite easy, but my particular one has Velcro, if that's the word, attached to it. So it's very, very sticky and and not hard, but you need to have practice at it. So when I got home, the first thing I did was I took my moon boot off. I had a look at my skin. It was looking a bit shitty, actually. It looked a bit like snake skin. It was quite dry because, let's face it, it's been in a plaster cast for 2 months. Hasn't been washed. Wasn't as smelly as I thought it would be, but so I got some moisturizer and I put that on. The one that I use, and look, I'm not a doctor, I'm not telling you what to do, but the one I like is CeraVe, and I like it because it's they have for dry skin or very dry skin, so I got the very dry skin. Has no perfumes in it or fragrances. It's made by L'Oreal, so I mean it is regarded as a really good quality product. So I slathered that all over my foot and let it get some air, and I sort of left it for the day. I wasn't sitting out in the sun, I don't think you should do that, but I was just sitting in the air, letting the air get around it, letting the moisturizer soak in, and just going from there. Now I'm going to be in this moon boot for 8 weeks, and the way they work it is you put 25% of your weight onto the moon boot for the first 2 weeks, 50% for the second 2 weeks, 75% for 2 weeks, and then 100% for 2 weeks and thereafter. So you need to be aware. Now I wrote this down somewhere, let me just see. You're actually incapacitated or whatever for 4 months. I am anyway. I'm not saying you will be, but you just need to be aware of that. So I've still got my crutches, I've still got my Zimmer frame, I've still got my scooter, and my scooter's my best friend. After that, I went to physio. Now, when I came home, the hospital doesn't actually provide you, or here in Auckland anyway, in Green Lane, the hospital didn't provide me with any equipment. Now, when probably 5 or 6 years ago I had a hip replacement, they gave me a toilet seat, they gave me a shower seat, they gave me a few other bits and pieces. I rang them and they said, no, we don't do that now. So it's probably because people nick them, steal them, I don't know. But they certainly don't do that now. Okay, guys, we're going to talk about shower stalls now. Just a reminder, in that first 2-month period, you cannot put the foot that's been operated on the ground, and that's what the 2-day test is all about, seeing how you handle that. You can shower. I've been saying that you can't put your foot in the shower. You could, of course, put your foot in that shower in that first 2-month period if you've got it in a plastic bag and then you tape it around the top, which is what some people do. I chose not to do that, and I've been saying you can't put it in the shower. So you've got 2 options here actually. You can either plastic bag it and tape it around the top. The reason I chose not to do it here is, as I mentioned, we're in summer, 27 degrees, stinky hot, and I didn't want it to get wet down in there, have some accident and it got wet inside and got smelly, and also I was a little bit worried about infection. So when I came home, of course, things were a little bit different then, and you can use a shower stall. The hospital didn't give me a shower stall, so I was going to go and buy one, and then I thought, look, we've got a local community Facebook page here. I give a lot of stuff away on our local page, and I thought, okay guys, it's your turn now. So I put an ad on just saying, hey, I would like the loan of a shower stall if anyone's got one. And amazingly, I got, like, in about 24 hours, I had a lady who came back and said to me, yes, I have one, and yes, you can borrow it, and I guess it's going to be a 2-month period. So they're a really good idea. Just be aware, you still need to be really careful. You've still got to sort of use your crutches to get up to the shower door and get 1 foot in and then sit on it, but it does make life a lot easier being able to sit on that. Of course, now after the plaster's been removed, and we're at that after the plaster cast stage now, it makes it easy to clean everything, and you still have to watch out for trip hazards though. So just be careful when you're in the shower. Just be really careful about slipping. Ideally, you put one of those mats down on the floor and one of those anti-slip mats in the shower, and you'll be good to go. Part of the recovery after the plaster comes off is going to physio. Now, if I'd had an accident as such in New Zealand, I'm not sure where you are, but if you're in New Zealand, ACC or accident compensation covers you for physio, but mine wasn't an accident. Mine was, how do we say this nicely? Mine was, you know how a beautiful bottle of wine matures? Well, people do too. And as we mature, we develop these little issues, and my one was arthritis. And if you're having ankle surgery, that's probably why you're having it as well. So ankle surgery isn't covered by ACC. So part of the recovery period after it is going to physio. So they're not going to cover that. I have to pay for that myself. So I went along the other day to physio, made an appointment with them prior, and the cost here in New Zealand, just so that you've got an idea of what physio is, if you go for 1 hour, it's around $100 New Zealand. If you go for half an hour, it's $50. Now, the suggestion when I arrived was that I go for half an hour and I go every fortnight. So I went along and I had my first physio the other day, and I arrived, they took my moon boot off, they got a little bit of background on me, and then basically what we were doing was, with the moon boot off, stretching my feet. So we were moving them backwards and forwards like this. We were moving the toes backwards and forwards really gently, and that was all part of it. And then the other thing we were doing was we were opening and closing our feet, toes like this. So it was all about creating a bit of movement and getting things worked up and easing that pressure. Now, you need to go to physio. So if you're not going to go to physio, you haven't completed the whole exercise. You know, you've gone through 2 months in plaster. We're now in that 2-month period after plaster, and you have to make sure that you are following the rules, following the plan, following everything so that you don't end up with a foot that is not working well for you. Look, at the end of the day, it's all about mobility. And I always say, once you've lost your mobility, you're stuffed. So, you know, go along and have a bit of physio, because that is all part of it. Mine's an ongoing thing. I'm not sure how long I'm going to do it for. They're hopefully going to guide me on that. And I'm guessing it's going to go on for about 2 months or so from now. Now, I'm going to give you in a minute what I'm going to call a 2-day test. Okay, it's a test for you, but I'm going to just hold that thought for a minute. I think I mentioned a while back moving things around the house if you're on crutches, and it is difficult. And one of these little bags, any sort of a bag that's got a little handle helps. Now, again, I'm not suggesting you do this. I'm telling you what I did, because I don't want someone tripping over the bag and suing me for whatever. So I have a little story. Sitting upstairs, we're in a 2-story house, and I was sitting upstairs the other day watching TV, and I thought to myself, I'd really love some crackers and cheese and a glass of wine, because it was wine time. Any time after 4 o'clock is wine time, okay? So I thought I'll be really creative. I got my little bag, I got the plate, put the cheese knife in it, put the cheese in, crackers, went on my scooter, on my bum up the stairs, got to the top, put this on the handle of the crutches, and walked over and put it down on the couch and on the table, put it on the table, and set it all up. And then I thought, okay, now I need to get the wine, and I had thought this through. So I came down and I got my glass of wine, and down in our kitchen we've got quite a few benches around the place. So this is actually a really sad story. Sad it's sad. So I got my glass of wine, okay, and of course I had to pour the wine into it, and I thought now I can move it round down here on my little wheelie thing. I can move it from one bench and then to another bench, and then when I get to the stairs over in the corner there, I can pop it on the stairs, and then as I go upstairs I can put it on a stair, step by step by step, get to the top, and then I'll take it to and have my cheese. So I did that, and I got to the top of the stairs, and then I thought, holy crap, I haven't really thought this through, because there are no benches up the top there to let me get, it's not very far, it's only a few meters to the couch. So this is the sad part. I got down on my hands and knees with my glass of wine that was fairly full. I put the wine between my fingers like this, and I crawled along the floor. But I have to say, when I got my wine to the cheese on the table, I sat there and I thought to myself, you are smart. So, interesting thing, telling my neighbour about this, and she said to me, have you not heard about the jar trick that you do? You don't do that, you use a jar. And I hadn't, so here's a tip. I haven't done it, but you can do it. So you get your glass of wine, or your empty glass, and you get a little jar, and you fill it up with wine, a screw top jar. This is water in here, it's not wine. And you pop it in your little bag, because it's not going to tip over. You're not going to lose any wine. And then you get upstairs, sit down with your wine and cheese, or wherever you are, and then you just pour it in there. Don't be sad and drink it out of the jar, okay? We're not that desperate. We take a nice glass up and we do that. So that's the wine trick. So now I'm just going to stop for a minute and have a cup of coffee, and then I'm going to come back to you and tell you about this test I've got for you. So here's the 2-day test. This is my idea. You don't have to do it, but I think it's a good idea. This, ideally, you're going to do maybe 4 weeks before you have your operation. And all this is doing, like this video, is preparing you for what you're going to go through, because probably the fact that you're immobile for 4 months hasn't sunk in. You know, it didn't sink in for me. And I thought once the plaster came off, you know, it's all systems go. So this is the 2-day test that I want you to do. I want you to try and find a pair of crutches. You should know someone. If you have to borrow them, or go on your local Trade Me or your local Facebook page or whatever, see if you can borrow a pair of crutches for a weekend, okay? And this is what you do with the 2-day test. You wake up, you pick the 2 days that you're going to do it on, and ideally a Saturday or Sunday. And you wake up on the Saturday morning and you use crutches, okay? You have crutches by the side of your bed. And when you get out of bed, you start using your crutches, and you keep your other foot off the floor, and you do this for 2 days, okay? Now, you might think that sounds a bit shitty. You've got 120 days of this coming up. So the reason I want you to do this is to see how much pressure it puts on your free leg, your good leg, how much pressure it puts on your wrists, and I also want you to see how, I was going to say handicapped, and that's actually really not, it's not the right word, is it? Restricted is probably better. How restricted your actions are going to be for 4 months. So, you know, it's 2 days out of your life, and you need to appreciate what you're going to go through. And we're doing this, we're being really positive about this, but we're just preparing you for it. It's really, be prepared. You know, if you're a Boy Scout, be prepared. So some of the things that you can't do, I've just made a list of them. You can't bath, okay? You can't shower, because when you have got a cast on, it can't get wet. So you can do the thing that I did where you sit on your bum on the ground and hang your leg out, that's okay. But if you are a little bit overweight, or you find that a little bit intimidating, because it's not actually very easy, you've got to squirm around a bit, get down on your knees and then onto your bum. I didn't mind it, because I felt after a month I needed to have a shower. You know, I wanted to get in water. But you can't shower. So if you're going to use the flannel and soap and water, you do that for 2 days and see how life is. So you can't bath. You can't make a bed. You know, I mean, every morning when I wake up, I make my bed, because to me that's part of life. You know, it's the beginning of organisation for the day. At the moment, I don't give a crap about it. You know, the bedroom is all about ease, and you can't make a bed, you can't change a bed. So this is where you need to have help, or someone who's going to help you through all this. You can't vacuum your house, and you might think, oh, I don't do it that often. 4 months, how many times in 4 months? You can't vacuum a house. You can't carry food on a plate, okay? You can't carry a glass or a cup. You can't hang washing. You can't mow lawns. You can't clip a hedge. You can't put the rubbish out. You can't pick up anything on the floor. If you drop something, it's really difficult to pick it up, because then it becomes all about balance. And if you drop something on the floor and leave it there, it becomes a trip hazard. You can't push a trolley at a supermarket. You've got to think about that side of it. I thought, oh, it's easy. You just hold on to the supermarket trolley and you just push it along. Well, no, honey, you don't, because a foot's got to leave the ground and the trolley isn't supportive. It could tip over or whatever. So you can't go to a supermarket and push a trolley. You can't water a plant. There are lots and lots of things you can't do. Things you can do but are difficult. Washing your hands, for example. It's not difficult, but every time you do something, you put your crutches down. You can't turn a tap on without putting your crutches down. You can't clean your teeth without putting your crutches down, or open a fridge, or open a door, or whatever. Now, I tell you something, I went to the supermarket the other day. I thought, this is really easy. I thought the whole thing through. I've got my I think I've been saying Crip Park, and I need to say mobility because that's more PC. Had the mobility park right outside the door. This is when I was still in plaster. I decided easy peasy, put a backpack on. So I did that because of course you can't carry anything. You've got crutches. So I walk in and all I wanted was a salad. I wanted lettuce and I wanted tomatoes and blah, 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 blah. So I'm standing at the green section and I decide I want that lettuce. So put the crutches down, pick the lettuce up, put it in the backpack, pick the crutches up, move along. Oh, over there, too far to reach, but needed to use the crutches, was a red pepper. So I get over there, put the crutches down, pick the red pepper up, put it in the backpack. So after, picking up a green pepper and spring onions and mushrooms and whatever else, holy crap, I was exhausted. And so I took my backpack up to the checkout and just gave her the pack. And she scanned everything and then she put it all in the pack and I walked out. I did that on my own and I thought, I'm actually not going to do that again. That was when I was in plaster. So you need to think these through, all the things that you can't do. So have a go at 2 days. Don't cheat on it. Have a fair go at it because I want you to see be prepared for what you're going to go through. And we're doing this in a very positive manner. We're being positive all the way through on this, but I want you to see how life is suddenly going to become a little bit more challenging. I want you to see how it's going to affect your health. I want you to see how it's going to affect your body, putting all your weight on one leg. And I want you to see how it affects your wrists as well. So that's the whole idea of the 2-day test. Have a go at it. And yeah, it's all about being prepared. It's all about, and it might motivate you to get a little bit fitter, perhaps, because whatever weight you have now, whatever your body weight is, that's what you're going to be carrying, that body weight on one leg, which might, like mine, my other leg's a bit screwed, so I'm carrying all my body weight on that leg and on my wrists. So have a go at it. Have a go at the 2-day challenge, the 2-day test. See how you go. One of the things that we do have to do after surgery is, and this is now that I've got my moon boot on, my physio guy said I do have to do a fair amount of walking each day. In fact, 1,000 steps every day. So I'm not quite sure how you calculate 1,000 steps, and I'm not sure how far 1,000 steps are, but I can probably look at that on the internet. Then I guess other option is, I know it's about 1/4 mile, I can drive around the block and check 1/4 mile on my speedo, and that gives me a bit of an idea, and then just increase each day, so 1,000 steps a day. So I've come out to the football field, the local football field. Okay, and I'm going to set off. Okay, well, this is only like about 400 so far. Mind you, I've walked one way, so I've got to walk back. That's where I've got to walk back to, over there. That's where the car is. So let's have a go at walking back. I tell you, after this is like 2 months and a couple of weeks, your wrists get really sore. Just be aware of that. So if you're a big heifer, mother, you're a big hunky person, you're going to find it really difficult when you come to use your crutches. I've said that all along. It's all about getting your weight down and actually being fit. And my physio guy said to me, you've got to be fit beforehand, and you've got to be fit and do exercise and walk and build your strength and your muscle up afterwards, because one side of your body has lost a lot of muscle, particularly your leg. It might look okay, but it has lost a lot of its muscle content. So stand by, we're going to wander back. Take a look at the view. Beautiful. Okay, so just back from my walk, about to take my moon boot off. I've done my 1,000 steps today, which I need to do every day as part of the recovery. Now, I'm just going to mention once again, this is my journey. This is my journey through ankle fusion, and it may not be yours. So all I'm doing here really is telling you what I've gone through. You probably will go through the same, but this is my journey. So the reason for doing the steps, my physio guy told me that what you're trying to do is strengthen your body again and put muscle back into that leg that's been operated on. Now, when I get home, what I normally do is take my moon boot off if I'm just going to sit around, which I am for a while. Probably have a cup of coffee. It's too early for wine. It's only midday, so I'm just going to make myself a coffee, have a piece of shortbread. I'm going to take my boot off now, my moon boot, and I'll show you what my foot looks like. And this is a week after I've been home from surgery. Okay, so now we're going to we're in the final run here. I'm just going to have a wine, guys, because it's 5 o'clock, and as I've probably told you before, 4 o'clock's wine time in New Zealand. I don't know about where you are, but 4 o'clock's wine time for me. Look at that wine. Look at that. Isn't it gorgeous? Okay. So we're talking about now having a goal to look forward to, because I'm now at day 10 in my moon boot. So that's 70 days so far, and I've got 120 to go. So we've got a bit of a hike here. So we want to talk about setting a goal for yourself, giving yourself a present or giving yourself a reward, so that when you are over this, or as you're going through it, I guess I should say, you've got something to look forward to, something that's going to be appealing at the end of the journey. Look, it could be something like a hike. You might decide you're going to go for a hike with your partner or your dog or your best friend or whatever. So it might be a hike, it might be a shopping adventure somewhere, it might be a road trip, it might be a cruise, or it might be a holiday overseas. So you're setting yourself a goal, something that you're in 120 days or not long after, you've got something to look forward to. I've just booked a holiday. My partner and I are going up to Bali. We're going in August this year, so it's some time off, but look, I've still got another almost 2 months to go in my moon boot. So for me, that's something to look forward to. I'm going to go to Bali. I like to do things that are a little bit active. I want to go and look at a turtle conservatory. I want to go over to Nusa Penida and swim with the manta rays over there. I think that'd be really cool. I want to do a boat trip to one of the outer islands, or a couple of the outer islands, and I want to wander over the rice terraces up in Ubud. So what I'm saying here is, you set yourself a goal, you've got something to look forward to, because life's a bit dull and life's a bit boring, and look at me, bit of a wreck. So I need that holiday. So that's my little prize, or my little bonus, or that's my goal, something to look forward to. Okay, so now I'm sort of basically going to do a summary. Time's dragging on here, and from here onwards, actually, most of it is just exercise and spending that time putting more and more weight on my left foot till I get to 100%. And that's pretty boring. I don't think you want to see that every day. You can see other people's videos of that. My point here was to make a video of that period in between, the period from when you go into surgery to when you start walking, because that's a pretty shitty period in the whole thing, and it's a period that people don't really talk about much. So I just want to do a summary here, and the first thing I've got on my list is be prepared. So look, we've talked about doing the two-day test, the 2-day exercise, just to see how you go on crutches. It's going to give you an idea of what you're in for. It's going to let you experience crutches. It's going to let you experience what you go through while you're on them, and how some things are easy and some things are not so easy, and how you're going to have to set up your house to be prepared for that 2 to 4 month period when you are on crutches. So that's the first thing, be prepared. You know, that's the first thing. Second one is to be safe and don't fall. And we've talked about that as well, because the one thing you don't want to do when you have a leg, particularly when it's in plaster, is fall over and end up with an arm in plaster or something worse. So we need to be safe. We need to be careful about obstacles on the floor. We need to be careful about stairs. We need to be careful about wet floors. We need to be careful about clothing. They're the main trip hazards: stairs, things on the floor, and mats. So those are the things you need to be careful of. Next thing I want to talk about, or the next bullet point, is watch your weight. You need to develop a little bit of fitness prior to this. This is what my physios told me. You need to be a little bit fit if you can before this. You need to also keep an eye on your weight, because as we've said before, whatever weight you're carrying now is what you're going to be carrying on your wrists and on your good leg that you're going to be walking on. So that's part of the reason for that 2-day test that we've talked about as well. The 2-day test lets you experience that and see if it's going to hurt you, see if you're a little bit overweight, see if there's something that you need to do beforehand. So just watch your weight. Third thing, Third thing is chairs. Now, we've talked about chairs before. I'm sitting on a bar stool. We've talked about those, and we've talked about how practical they are because they're slightly taller, they're easier to get in and out, and if you sit down on a couch or an armchair, they're quite difficult to get out. So don't be a sad ass and sit in a chair and think it's difficult to get out, and people have got to bring things to you, and that you're in the sympathy mode. You know, get over yourself, because if you have an attitude like that, your physical fitness is going to deteriorate, and if you don't look after yourself when we come to that walking period, and you're not exercising your foot, you're gonna end up in a bad situation. So chairs, just watch your chairs, and if you've got a bar stool, perfect. Next thing I want to talk about is hand gloves, and we've mentioned those before, the little hand gloves that you get from the gym. In fact, let me just, got one right here actually in my little toolbox. One of these, we've talked about these before, and the good thing about these is that your fingers come out the end of them, so that if you have got to answer a phone or carry something around, look, I've lost a finger in the process, holy crap. Okay, I've lost a finger. Okay, got it back. Okay, so the good thing about these is that you can answer a phone, you can dial on a phone or whatever, and you know they make life easier. Make life, goodness, I've only had like that's how much I've had of a glass. They make life easier, and they also protect your wrist and they protect the palm of your hand. Okay, the next one is carry your phone. Now look, we've talked about that before too, but it's in the summary. That's one of the tips that I'm going to put up. It's a really important one, because you are probably going to end up in a situation where either your phone rings when it's not near you and you've got to scramble to answer it, it's somewhere where it shouldn't be, or you end up in a situation where you need to call someone and you don't have your phone on you. So that's a really important thing. Next tip in my summary is don't go out alone. Going out alone is really dangerous, particularly when you are in a cast. You can't really do much. There is a high chance that you might trip over when you go out, because there are often wet pavements. I mean, I went to a restaurant the other day and they'd washed the front of it down, and as I walked out, there was a slope down there, a very slight incline away from the door, and it was wet. And it was like, holy crap, I'm going to kill myself here. But I got through that okay, so that was all good. Next thing is watch out for trip hazards, and we've talked about trip hazards before. The worst ones are stairs, mats, and wet floors. Okay, so be careful of trip hazards. They also can be clothing that you've left around on the floor. They can be dog bowls and cat bowls and dog toys and children's toys and all sorts of things. So just ask the people in your house to be respectful and tidy the floor up, push chairs in so that you can get past them safely. Just be really careful of trip hazards. Second to last, penultimate, is be healthy. Now, like I said before, don't be a sad ass and sit around in a chair and think that you're sick. Get over yourself, because that way you're not going to heal as well, and you really need to get out and get air and get a bit of exercise and keep everything loosened up. You also need to be careful of your moods and frustrations, and we've talked about that. You can get really moody in that period. That's part of being healthy. You can get quite down because you've got a lot of time where you're sitting around by yourself and you reflect on things. You reflect on good things, but you can also reflect on bad things. So be healthy. And the last thing that I've got is be positive. You've got to be really positive through all of this. You know, you're going to come out the other end a better person. You're going to come out with your leg fixed, unless you're like me and you've got to have another one done, and oh my god, I've got that to look forward to in another 9 months or so, having go through all this again for the other foot. But anyway, look, got to be really positive about it. And look, I always say age is a state of mind. So don't think you're old, or don't think you're sick, or don't think you have an impediment or whatever, and everyone's got to look after you. You're not sick, okay? You've just got a little issue, and after a short period of time, you're going to get over it. So, I'm loving that wine. Okay, so guys, I hope you really found this interesting. This was my journey, and it's 70 days into it so far. I'm still alive, I'm still breathing. I've still got about a month and a half to go, and that part of it should be fairly easy. It's basically getting around on crutches with one foot on the ground, increasing my weight on that foot from 25% up to eventually 100%. So it is a slow journey, it is a tiring journey. Look at me, we've talked about how I need surgery, I need a massage, I need surgery, I need everything actually at the moment. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. So, a couple of things to remember, final thoughts here before I wrap it up. And you've heard these before, but I'm just going to say them. I've said it before, age is a state of mind, and it is, okay? Get over yourself. If you think you're old and sick, you're not. And enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself during this process, and most of all, be safe. I hope your surgery goes well. I hope that you're going to like and comment. If you make any comments on here, if you have any questions, I'm really happy to answer them for you. And most of all, I'd love it if you subscribe to me, because I'm quite new to this. This is the first face-to-face one that I've done. Most of mine are travel videos where I just show people scenery and I don't have myself in it. Most of the people that do travel videos, and they're in their videos, they're 27, they've got abs for Africa, they're gorgeous, and you know, they're part of the journey when you watch a travel video. And that's not me. So I haven't put myself in front of people like this before. So take care, guys, be safe, and enjoy your life. Ciao, ciao. Yum, yum.